Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to deconstruct something that affects absolutely every single one of us, every single day. We're going to reveal the hidden mechanical system behind human behavior. We're getting right under the hood of human nature, drawing directly from the research and frameworks in James Clear's phenomenal book, Atomic Habits. But we're not just looking at what we do, we're breaking down the invisible architecture that actually controls how we do it. So, if you've ever felt completely frustrated by your own habits, trust me, you are exactly in the right place.
Okay, let's dive right into this by addressing the massive elephant in the room. Why do people fail to change? You know the feeling, right? You have a crystal clear goal. You get this huge burst of motivation. You tell yourself, okay, this is the year I finally get in shape, or this is the month I absolutely write that book. And yet, a few weeks later, you're right back where you started. There's this deeply held societal belief that if you fail, well, you just didn't want it badly enough. We're essentially taught that sheer willpower and motivation are the only keys to transformation, but scientifically and mechanically, that is completely false.
See, for decades, we've totally bought into this old belief, the idea that massive success requires massive action. We put this immense, heavy pressure on ourselves to make earth-shattering improvements overnight. But here is the true system. Goals, they are not the mechanism of change. They're literally just the destination. To actually get there, you need a system of identity and environmental design. We absolutely have to stop staring at the outcomes we want and start looking at the invisible machinery running in the background.
Section 1. The Invisible Habit Machine.
To really wrap our heads around this, we need to treat human behavior exactly like a machine. Or actually think of it more like a software operating system that runs on predictable neurological feedback. Your brain is essentially just a giant prediction engine, constantly looking for ways to save energy by automating repetitive tasks. This means human behavior is not random at all. It follows this exact four-step backbone every single time to create automatic habits. First, you have the cue, then the craving, next the response, and finally the reward. If a behavior is lacking in literally any of these four stages, it's just not going to become a habit. Think about it. Eliminate the cue and the habit never even starts. Reduce the craving and you won't have enough motivation to act. Make the response too difficult and you physically can't do it. And if the reward fails to satisfy you, well, you have absolutely zero reason to repeat it in the future.
And this brilliantly illustrates the actual timeline of a habit. The first two steps, the cue and the craving, that's your problem phase. You notice something and you want to change your current state. The cue triggers the brain. It's a tiny bit of information that predicts a reward. Then, the third and fourth steps, the response and the reward, that is the solution phase. You take action, and the reward ultimately teaches your brain which actions are actually worth remembering for next time.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating here is that these four stages, they don't just happen once and then stop. They form a continuous, endless neurological feedback loop. Every single moment you are alive, your sensory nervous system is continuously scanning your environment, predicting what's going to happen next, trying out different responses, and learning from the results. It is an endlessly spinning wheel dictating your daily actions.
Section 2. The Identity System.
So what actually powers this habit machine? What gives it direction? Let's move deep into the core of this operating system to understand why identity, not goals, is the absolute foundation of lasting change. You see, most people try to change from the outside in. They focus on outcome-based habits. You start at the outer ring, the outcome, focusing heavily on what you want to achieve, like losing weight or quitting smoking. But the fatal flaw here is that you're hoping your behavior will change while carrying around your exact same old beliefs. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." I mean, it sounds super reasonable, right? But they still fundamentally believe they are a smoker who is just trying to be something else.
Now contrast that approach with identity-based habits, where change happens from the inside out. You start by focusing on who you wish to become. When offered that exact same cigarette, the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It's such a small difference in words, but it is a massive shift in identity. So the absolute crucial point here is that true behavior change is identity change. Every single action you take is simply a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
I really want you to absorb this paradigm shift because it's a total game changer. The goal is not to read a book, the goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon, the goal is to become a runner. Anyone can convince themselves to hit the gym once or twice through sheer willpower, but those improvements, they are only temporary until they become part of who you actually are.
Section 3. The 4 Laws Engine.
All right, so once we have our identity target locked in, how do we actually program the machine? Well, it comes down to a master code for human behavior. To build a good habit, you apply the 4 laws of behavior change. You make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. But if you want to destroy a bad habit, you just invert the laws. You make the cue invisible, make the craving unattractive, make the response difficult, and make the reward unsatisfying. By pulling these specific levers, you are directly hacking your own neurology.
Let's see how this translates into real-life system design. To make a cue obvious, use habit stacking. Tie a new habit to something you already do every single day. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. To make it attractive, use temptation bundling. Pair an action you need to do with one you really want to do. To make it easy, utilize environment design and the 2-minute rule. Decrease friction by downscaling your new habit so it takes 2 minutes or less to start. Notice what we're doing here. You aren't desperately trying to change your motivation. You are simply programming your environment for automatic success.
Section 4. The Compound Effect System.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, these are tiny tweaks. How much can a 2-minute habit really change my life? And that brings us to the incredible mathematical reality of these micro changes over time. The answer is 37.78 times. That is the exact mathematical advantage of the system we're discussing. If you can manage to get just 1% better each day for 1 year, you don't just add up, you compound into being nearly 38 times better by the time you're done. Small improvements aren't just noticeable, they're exponential. What starts as a seemingly minor shift accumulates into something monumental.
Because habits are, quite literally, the compound interest of self-improvement. Just look at the massive divergence over time here. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. On any given Tuesday, a 1% decline or a 1% improvement, it feels exactly the same. You don't even notice it. But over months and years, the gap between success and failure becomes strikingly apparent.
Section 5. The new operating system.
So, we've completely torn down the engine of human behavior today. We've looked at the habit loops, the identity layers, the control panel of the 4 laws, and the crazy math of compounding. And this brings us to our ultimate takeaway. We absolutely have to delete the old model from our brains. We have to stop saying, I need more motivation to reach my goal. Stop blaming your lack of willpower. Instead, install the new model. I need a better system to reinforce my identity. When you fix the mechanical system of your environment and you tie your habits to the person you genuinely wish to become, behavior change completely stops being a struggle and it starts becoming automatic.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Take a second and look around the room you're in right now. Look at your phone, your desk, your kitchen. What is one tiny 1% system tweak you can make to your environment today to cast a vote for your new identity? Seriously, don't wait for motivation to strike. Hack your environment, stack your habits, and let the system do the heavy lifting for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we continue to decode the fascinating systems all around us.